Welcome back to another episode of Unknown Endeavors. This week we visit Connecticut where we discuss 3 legends, but first let's start with Hannah Cranna. She is known as the Wicked Witch of Monroe, a reputation that continues to follow her over 150 years after she passed. According to some people, she has a reputation of being a witch, but it didn't begin until her husband's death. Captain Joseph Harvey, an event with which Hannah was rumored to somehow be involved with. The tale goes, Captain Harvey went out for a walk and somehow ended up toppling over the cliff, which resulted in his death. Not believing that Captain Harvey could have been the victim of an unfortunate accident, whispers started that Hannah somehow bewitched him, which caused him to become dazed and confused, and he fell to his death. Hannah, whose shrewish behavior hadn't endeared her to others while Harvey was alive, became even more loathsome after her neighbors tried to give her free food and firewood, and if they didn't immediately comply, she relied on her reputation and would threaten them. When one local farmer's wife allegedly tried to deny her a fresh-baked pie, Hannah cursed her, or so the story goes, and the poor woman was never able to bake again. Another story says that after a man was catching trout in the brook on her property without her permission, Hannah put a curse on him and he never caught another fish after that. So they seem pretty innocent. Over the years, other such incidents demonstrating her otherworldly prowess supposedly occurred, solidifying her infamy with the local legends. From her house on Craig Hill, she helped those who venerated her and pared down misery on those who crossed her. Ultimately, it was her demise and odd events surrounding her burial that truly cemented her legend. It seems that Hannah kept a rooster named Old Boreas, which some suspected was her familiar. Shortly after the rooster passed, Hannah told the neighbor that her end was near. My coffin must be buried by hand to the graveyard, she had instructed, and I must not be buried before sundown. Hannah Cranna passed the next day. It was snowing that day and the locals decided that rather than following her instructions, it would be easier to pull her casket across the snow on a sled. But as the procession started towards the cemetery on a sled, as they were pulling her, the casket slid off and slid all the way back to her front door. They tried again, but were met with more trouble. Rather than further incur the wrath of Hannah, they decided to carry her to the graveyard. After much struggle, they eventually got the old witch into her grave just after sunset. Happy to finally be rid of her, they returned to Hannah's home, only to discover it was engulfed in flames. The Melonheads are allegedly everything from a group of escaped mental patients to a lost colony of inbred mountain folk, dating back to the colonial times. They are described as small and frail with spiny appendages. They have crooked, gnarly teeth, and most notably, they have a bald, blowless head that is out of proportion with their bodies. They avoid everyone else like the plague. They allegedly live in the area of Velvet Street in Turnbull. The street is also known as Dracula Drive by locals. There are numerous accounts of people driving down this street, which is apparently pretty creepy, and it ends in a dirt road. And at the end, you encounter mysterious large-headed people that would scare you. One account even relates that the Melonheads stole a baby blue Grand. Oh, said that wrong. Stole a baby blue Granda, which they still drive in like maniacs late at night. But it doesn't seem like they are dangerous. There are no accounts of people being attacked or maimed. They are just creatures that live on the edge of society, and most of them are afraid if they do exist. There are a couple stories concerning the origins of this strange pack of people. One One originates in about 1860 when a high-security insane asylum located in Fairfield burned to the ground. All of the staff perished in the fire, but several of the inmates' bodies were never found. Speculation is that those are descendants of the inmate who escaped the fire. Speculation is that those are descendants of the inmate who escaped the fire. They chose to live on the fringe of society, becoming strange, malformed creatures as a result of inbreeding. Also, there is speculation about cannibalism when food runs short for them. Another theory states that these are descendants of a family cast out of colonial times for witchcraft. Rather than settle in another town, they decided to remove themselves from society, and again, their inbreeding made them mutate into oddly shaped beings. Whatever they are well known despite their attempts to remain invisible from society. Like much of Connecticut, settlers came to the area around what is now the quiet town of Cornwall in the mid-18th century. And that includes the first Dudleys who came from England to the Litchfield Hills in 1747. They helped create what became a thriving community known then as the Owl's Berry, primarily fueled through the region's growing iron industry. Homes were built, the land was farmed, iron was forged, the town grew and prospered, and all is well, or so it seemed. Some attributed the demise of the town to multiple mundane factors: the depletion of the farmland, the decline in the area's iron industry, the natural progression of younger Americans heading west to settle new lands, and so on and so forth. Of course, there are others who simply believed that the Dudley clan was cursed, as an inordinate number of the Dudleys supposedly came to untimely ends, and that the curse extended to the village they helped found. Whatever the cause, the Dudleys died off and the settlement's population continued to dwindle until about the turn of the 20th century, when the last resident finally gave up and abandoned what was left of the town. And today the only remnants of the city are crumbling foundations and empty cellars. The story goes that anyone who has tried to live in what had been Dudley Town has come to terrible misfortune. Over the years, there has allegedly been everything from suicides to demonic possessions and all the hysterical drama in between. The Warrens famously recorded a Halloween special from Dudleytown in the early 1970s, declaring it officially, quote-unquote, demonically possessed, which essentially opened up the supernatural floodgates. Since then, it has become home to all sorts of alleged paranormal experiences, with the visitors witnessing all manners of spirit and phantoms, as well as having unsettling feelings of dread and fear. As you could expect, the area has also drawn the attention of those enthralled with dark forces and demonic rituals, plus a healthy number of amateur ghostbusters and teenagers simply searching for a thrill in all that has become a damnation destination. Next week, stay tuned because we will be talking about Delaware and 3 legends that may freak you out and they may make you want more legends from this state. Thank you for listening to Unknown Endeavors.